Please welcome to the stage, Kristen Kovar.
Hi guys, happy holidays. Thank you. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my family. See, family's such a fun and interesting thing. And I say fun or funny and interesting because you can look around a room at a get-together and you just try to figure out where you came from. Or for me, it's more like, where do I fit in? And maybe to better understand my family dynamic, I could tell you stories about my drunkles, as I affectionately call them, falling into trash cans at summer picnics. And then, of course, we have certain family members choking up in the bathroom at Christmas time, treating their glaucoma, which is what I was always told as a kid. Or, of course, my great-grandmother, who would spin yards about her nursing home sexcapades, in which I will never get the term shoving a marshmallow into a keyhole out of my head for the rest of my days. God rest her soul. But now that we have a better understanding of where I come from, I'd like to welcome you all to our Thanksgiving get-together. See, holiday time in storybooks, movies, TV shows, it's all about that warm, happy feeling, the big smiles and rosy cheeks and hot chocolates, even doing the thing with the sweater and the turtleneck and all that. But yeah, my holidays are not like that typically. We do have the beautiful over-the-top fall festive decor, and the amazing smell of turkey being cooked or delicious pies being baked just fills the air. Yet here I am, slunk into the corner of my aunt's sectional couch in an impromptu staring contest with my 2-year-old cousin, who was actually just loading his diaper and maintaining perfect eye contact. And when I realized how fucking weird that is, like I have to look away, right, to give the kid a little privacy. But if that scene right there is not a perfect and accurate metaphor for my holiday season with my family, like I don't know what is. But no matter, the parade of characters starts pouring into the house. The ne'er-do-wells, the alcoholics, the overflow of bodies from the living room pours into the kitchen as everybody greets hello. But notably missing is my grandfather. My Pop. So Pop was in his 70s. He was always a blue-collar guy his entire life. And not only was he the patriarch of our family, but he was also a storyteller. And he'd go on about certain things that would happen on the farm or malfunctions with the equipment. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, I've almost died at the hands of a hay baler and things like that. But he generally had 2 morals to every story. And one was that he was always right. Even if the story was significantly different from the first time that I heard it to the next, he was right. We had to give it to him. And the second moral was that we had to work for everything that we had in life. And I do have my dad to thank for a lot for my work ethic and taking care of my family, but a lot of that too came from my grandfather and his stories, and I very much look forward to that, especially at holiday time, because honestly that was my shred of normalcy considering the rest of the characters that I had to share it with. So when I noticed that Pop's not there, I said to my mother, like, what the fuck's going on here, Ma? Where's Pop? And she's like, yeah, you know, I don't know, let's give him a call. So she dials the phone, and I lean in to listen, but she swats me away. So I only hear her end of the conversation, which starts off with, well, hey, Dad, where are you? We're all here. And I hear like some indistinctive muffling sounds that I can't really make out. And her reaction is, what? Okay. Well, you know, we can come and pick you. No, okay. Continues. And then she says, you know, we can mash it up for you if you want to. And then I hear a muffled but more distinct, do I look like a fucking baby to you? And she sighs, okay, all right, Dad, you're right, that's fine. We'll see you later then. Okay, love you. So she puts the phone down and kind of rubs her forehead, and she makes the announcement to the family, like, hey, everybody, listen up. Dad's not going to be coming to Thanksgiving. He's apparently run out of denture paste, and he's not going anywhere without his teeth. So we had the overall groan from the family, and some people were laughing, and then, of course, the jokes at Pop's expense for his lack of teeth. But I look back at my mother, and she's definitely disappointed, but there's a small piece of relief. And the relief comes from the fact that Pop had been on a pretty steady mental decline later in life. Like, he wasn't recognizing a lot of us in the family right away, or he'd become downright combative over putting coffee in the coffee maker. And his new fun thing that he liked to do was tinker around his house and just try to fix things that weren't necessarily broken, but he broke them so badly that we had to call in professional help a lot of the time. So this was new, and it's safe to say he's become difficult. So Mom returned back to the cooking, and I see the relief growing because, in a sense, we can kind of enjoy our Thanksgiving, and we didn't have to deal with that today, and that was okay. But I take the news, and I return back to my designated spot on the couch, and I just start sitting there thinking and trying to put it in. I'm like, okay, Pop's not going to be there. That's pretty messed up. I mean, I don't go anywhere without my watch, so I get it, but still, how is everybody just okay with us? This is like a huge part of our family puzzle that's just missing, and this is like the glue that holds our family together, and everybody's just fine with it. Like, what is wrong with these people? They're so fucking crazy. So I almost immediately get back up and I say, look, Mom, it's not okay that Pop's not here. It's never going to be the same. So I'll see if I can grab some denture paste and I'll go get him. She wasn't super confident that I'd be successful on this mission, but she bid me good luck, and I grabbed my coat and gave my congratulatory fist bump to my cousin, who had indeed shit himself. So sent him off to his mother. And off I went. And I had to hit up maybe 4 or 5 convenience stores for this freaking denture paste, which thank you to the big name chains that are not open on the holidays. But after the 5th store, I found some denture paste. I swiped the nice fine line of dust right off the top of that box, possibly expired. And I head off to Pop's apartment. Now, once I'm there, I make a nice proud knock at the door. I hear a little shuffling, a little disgusting things that he would do. But then I hear the door and it unlocks. And then locks and unlocks, locks. One more time unlocks again. And the door pops open. And there he is. But I don't see my grandfather. I see a small, frail, messy hair, smug-faced representation of who my grandfather used to be. And that was kind of a sad spectacle, but I smile and I go to greet him, and then he cuts me off almost immediately, and he says, "Who the hell are you? I'm not buying anything today." Oh, God, he doesn't know who I am. See, in dealing with Pop and his dementia, he was very confused all the time, and he would, everything that he so thought to be fact and true was just complete and utter nonsense, which is pretty much on par with how dementia works. But for me, the saddest thing was to see this man who was always right was just always wrong. And the family was constantly correcting him. And this man who was otherwise very well-spoken and very sharp and put together was just reduced to this childlike state. And I felt like not only was he losing a lot of his mind, but he was losing a lot of his dignity. And when he reacted like that, the heart sank, and I got the glassy eyes and a huge lump in my throat. But see, I'm not like the rest of the family. So when he told me he's not buying anything for me today, I said, all right, Chris, we're going to let him have this one. So I sucked it up, and I put that smile back on my face, and I said, "Good afternoon, sir. My name is Kristen. I'm from the Fix It and Sample Department. How are you today?" And he glared at me. But I watched this crazy range of emotions happen over his face. He went from cranky to confused to interested. And then he spoke, and he says, "Well, I'm a lot better now. I need some of your stuff." So I went on. And I said, "Well, that is wonderful news, sir, because we are running a special today on Fix It and Samples and family transportation. Your daughter has contacted us, and your presence is requested at your family's Thanksgiving feast." Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but in dementia land, they have people that do this sort of thing for you. It's kind of cool. So he invites me in, and I'm standing in his kitchen. He says, "You stay here, and I'll go get myself together." So he scurries off to his bedroom, and I hear a couple noises, and then damn it, and I hear, "Is everything okay in there?" And he hit me back with a nice cheery, "Mind your business." So I did. So I'm pacing around Pop's apartment, and I start to notice some cool things from my childhood, like the crochet blanket that was on the back of the couch since the dawn of time, and then, of course, the pictures of my aunt, my uncles, my mom from the 60s and 70s. And then I noticed some new things that aren't so familiar, like the towering pile of newspapers from the coffee table onto the floor, or the recliner, which was still in the outright position, which could certainly account for the shuffling that I heard when I knocked. And naturally, we have the masking tape that was in the sink. And then, folks, we've solved the mystery because there was a used bottle of Fixodent right on the counter next to a broken mug handle. We've got it, folks. We put it all together. So I knew he was ready because the apartment smell, the old man smell, was replaced with cologne. Like Pop liked to use Old Spice on the level of holy shit. So So he presented in one of my favorite Pop outfits, which is, of course, the button-down shirt and the sweatpants. And the tie, naturally, which cut off at about his rib level, and the long, skinny end hanging down out his waist. But I smiled, and I just took that in for a second, and that special moment was quickly uprooted when he says, well, are we going or not? And, shit, I almost forgot I was there on business. So we head down to my car. And now I'm thinking, okay, look, the jig is up. Like, he knows I'm his granddaughter, obviously. He's going to call me out. We're going to laugh about this. But he doesn't. He doesn't. This remains a business transaction the entire time. So we get in the car. He chooses to sit in the back, naturally. And I go to help him in. He shakes me off with his elbow. He's like, I got it. I just, bitch, okay, fine, no problem. So I sit in the front, and then he didn't want to talk. He didn't want to talk the entire time. I tried asking him, hey, so where are you headed off to? And who's going to be there? Maybe jog his memory a little bit, like, hello. And he grumbles me off. He's like, it's a family thing, which now I get why we relate so well. But I take him to my aunt's house in the most awkwardly silent 10-minute drive. And when we get there, we're greeted at the door by my mom and my aunt, who are all smiles and so happy that my mission had been a success. And we get to the door, and there's, oh, hey, Pop, how are you, Dad? Happy Thanksgiving, nice to see you. And then my grandfather puts his hand on my shoulder, and he makes an odd request, and he says, hey, so this is the gal from Fix-A-Dent. Do you mind if she stays for dinner? Now, we all had different reactions at this time. My grandfather had this super wide-eyed, hopeful that they'd say yes kind of look, and my aunt did the thing where you close your eyes and just shake your head back and forth. And I did the thing where I grit my teeth, and I'm like, oh, God, he blew it. And then my mother, naturally, narrowing her eyes at me, giving me that motherly death stare that only says, I'm going to fucking kill you. But in traditional dealing with Pop fashion, they go and start correcting him, and they say, no, Pop, no, Dad, this is your granddaughter. This is your granddaughter, Kristen. Don't you recognize her? And he looks at me, and I look back, and I did that sheepish smile that was like, I messed up, but it's funny, right? But this time, he puts it together in a snap, and he says, oh, Christian, I knew you looked familiar. When did you start working for Fix-A-Dent? So naturally, it was my turn to correct matters, and I said, I've been there about a month and a half, Pop. Let's go in the house. So the rest of Thanksgiving went off without a hitch. The food was amazing. The family was meh. But they seemed to enjoy Pop's company. I mean, they loved having them there, barring a few missteps like giving him a spoon for his turkey as requested, or like the, no, Pop, alcohol's not for children, those kind of things that were typical for when Pop was around. But it was great, and the family loved having him there. I mean, selfishly, I was thrilled. I was just so enamored by my accomplishment that I couldn't even have said any more about it. But most importantly, I was so happy to do this for Pop, because this would have otherwise been a very sad and lonely Thanksgiving with him just meandering around his apartment doing God knows what. But here he is, smiling and surrounded by people that he loved and just enjoying Thanksgiving. And I really did get that nice holiday feeling just like in the movies, because coincidentally, it was Pop's last Thanksgiving. So one of the last stories that he told me that day was about the great cat rescue of 1977. Do you know? Because he rescued cats from a barn fire, just so we're aware. And I said, Pop, I think I've heard this one before. Wasn't it just like 1 or 2 cows that you rescued? Just cows? And he said, no, it was cats. It was 66 cats. So I said, wow. You know what? That's amazing, because you're a hero. But that wasn't bullshit. That wasn't me correcting him, because really, he was one of the biggest heroes in my life. So we shook hands before we were leaving, and he said, Christian, it was very nice to meet you. And I said, you know what, Pop? It was very nice to meet you. He was right, as always. It was very nice to meet him again and again and again. So rest in peace, Pop. Thank you guys so much.